It's hard to understand the way that you went out. I bet you're living with a little hint of doubt. Maybe next time when you gotta show your hand, you won't cut and run, you'll finally make a stand. 'Cause I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. We're not through. Yeah, I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. Existential questions always get you down. All you want to know is are we lost or found? Is there something that you feel you need to chase? I bet you thought you put me in my place. 'Cause I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. We're not through. I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. Yeah, I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. We're not through. Yeah, I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. You can run, you can hide, but inside, I'm finally getting to you. Yes, it's true. I still love you, but I am getting to you.
Stand by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2, 1. Mark.
Welcome back to the Resupply with me, guy next door.
Me, definitely not racist against Italian DK.
And me, fan.
We should definitely kill this show and come back and do another one. Bringing you
That was a great out of context intro for everybody.
not every ad lib's a winner. We bring you your semi-regular double tap of all things Space Marines and Laserforce. Hi, gentlemen. Nice to see you. How are you today? Nice to see you as well, chat. But actually, I'll come back to you guys in a second. Hey, two. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you two. I hope it was good. I messaged you already.
Hey, happy birthday too.
Happy birthday too. Hello to you,
Much with
chat.
the birthdays of happiness. So good, so good. Happy birthday to two. Happy birthday to two. Happy birthday to two. Happy birthday to two.
But Dan's had a stroke. How are you, boys? You good?
I mean, sure.
Okay. It's been a mixed week.
Yeah, I've definitely had my share of corporate job is gonna corporate. So,
Fucking strong out the gate, boys.
Yeah, you know me. Like I like to bring the show down right off the jump, so that everything we do after just raises the level. So
Yeah, but
I
check out my sick 2-month subscription streak. I mean, that's definitely worth celebrating.
Oh, so
right
good.
there.
Yeah, Prime bucks.
Definitely never forget to resubscribe.
That's right. Life hack. If you thanks old man
Tahanatos. Thank you, old man Tahanatos. I appreciate you. 57 months. It's a long time. More than
That's
that.
a
His
goddamn
prof
long
David.
time.
What were we saying, Dave?
Who? Oh my
Ooh!
God! Is Steve having a heart attack? Oh my God!
Um,
Someone get this man to a hospital.
Don't ever fucking do that again, Steve-O.
Sorry, Chris.
You fucking asshole.
It feels so gross.
Jesus. Fuck right the fuck off.
Even in game, I don't think that I've, at least not in years, referred to Than as Chris without following it up with a pull your head out of your ass or something like that. It's never followed the positive statement. It's like when your mother uses your middle name, you know that you're really in trouble then.
I reckon I would have called you. I would have called you. See, it got choked up in my throat. I would have called you Chris maybe like less than a dozen times in my entire life.
And one of them was right then.
Yeah.
Like,
Ugh.
Welcome back to the Resupply with Steven, Christopher, and David.
Steven. Okay.
Okay, it's gonna be one of these shows. Okay.
What a terrible day to have ears. I'm sorry, chat. that was the correct. There should be an emote for that. That is earned, and I respect your choices.
Well, we've chosen the correct name for the pod today, Aesthetically Pleasing. We're going to talk about some stuff in a minute that is more aesthetically pleasing than our actual names.
I see it in the chat. You settle down, Michael, in chat. I see you over there.
Yeah. Did you want to talk about it? DK, did you want to talk about it?
Sure. Yeah, just give me 5 minutes for a bitch and bitch. So, I know I was kind of famously cagey with a lot of people about what my Nats plans were and when I was going to book my ticket, et cetera, et cetera. Part of it was because I had this job that I was applying for. It was kind of hanging over my head. And if I'd gotten it, there would be a possibility, A, that I probably have to be back. I have to be back right after the tournament. And B, there was a possibility it might screw me out of going altogether. But it was something that I couldn't really ignore. Long story short, I did not get that job. Boom. I felt like it was like 50-50 at best, but 50-50 is actually really good given the job landscape right now. So it's I'll take a 50-50. I'll take a coin flip.
Yeah.
Didn't end up working out. I didn't feel, and apparently other people involved in the process didn't feel that it was particularly well handled. But I guess the silver lining or the upside is my schedule is more open when it comes to Brisbane now. So I'm probably going to look into at least the possibility of extending my trip, but it's going to depend on how much the change fees cost and all that kind of stuff. Because the flip side is, I didn't get the job, so I have more time, but I didn't get the job, so I don't have as much money. Yeah. So that's those two things oftentimes are in conflict with one another.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of a bittersweet thing because I definitely had mixed feelings about it. I feel like I've gotten into at least some semblance of a work-life balance to the extent that any of us can have it. But I've been feeling just better as a person the last few years when I've mostly been working from home. And this would have disrupted that. It would have come with some rewards too. I don't want to make it seem like it would have been a disaster if I got it, but it did lead to a little bit of kind of just I guess you can call it a midlife crisis. That's really what it is, what we're talking about, because I'm sure there are lots of men, women, non-binary pals of my age who are feeling similar things. The career path has kind of hit a little bit of a dead end, and it's just a question of how you respond to that. Do you do something different? Do you just try to focus on other things? Do you just kind of do you make peace with the fact that it's okay, it's probably not going to advance beyond what it's about here? Can I be happy, professionally satisfied doing this kind of stuff? And in some ways it gives you a little bit of focus. Okay, well, I basically don't need to feel as guilty now about not spending a whole bunch of time over the summer rewriting my courses or adding stuff to them. Because it's I've kind of gone out of my way to try to make myself into a better candidate for a full-time position by volunteering for stuff, by doing service at the college that by contract I don't need to do, and I am not particularly well compensated for. But now, like, don't really feel a lot of pressure to do that, because it's like, what is the loyalty that you're showing your employer getting you back? In most cases, I would argue in life,
Absolutely fucking nothing.
It is never going to pay off.
Right.
Like, rewarding the loyalty of employees is like, it's in the realm with unicorns. It's not something that really happens.
It's a very archaic concept at this point.
And
Yeah.
there's usually an
Yeah,
expectation.
if it ever existed.
Like,
So just in thinking about those things, but honestly, it did kind of start with the pandemic and me starting to work from home more and thinking about like, what are really my priorities in life? And there were definitely a lot of tournaments between 2016 and 2019, a lot of like those regional tournaments, the random draws and different tournaments people went to, and they talked about how much fun they had. Those were events that I didn't go to because I was working. It was on a semester schedule. I didn't feel like I could take time off. I probably could have taken time off to do those things. I probably should have taken time off to do those things. When I started doing those events more, like after the pandemic hit, I was mostly working from home. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go out and do those things. I'm going to do things that add meaning to my life. And even if it's not happening for me professionally, like, you can still make meaningful connections. Maybe you can make meaningful connections with people you work with, but maybe you can find stuff like outside of work. Like that to me is like the biggest thing I would stress to people now is like, work is work. You got to work. You got to make some money. You got to pay the bills, all that kind of stuff. Ideally, you find something that is professionally satisfying, but life is what happens outside of work, and just kind of figuring out like what the bounds of that are. So, I'm still planning to go to Australia, and the other kind of like flip side of that, it's like, okay, well, I have this good work-life balance. Unfortunately, like, I also have a chronic illness that I'm managing in a country that doesn't handle chronic illnesses very well, especially on the monetary side.
Yeah.
And like I kind of alluded to it, like I'm having what hopefully is not any kind of like long-term health problem, but I may be having a complication from that condition that could possibly like necessitate surgery. I don't know if that would happen before or after Nats. Hopefully it will not go that far. Hopefully I'm just catastrophizing. But again, mixed week, a lot of things to feel, but I'm trying to keep perspective on it, trying to make peace with things, and trying to look at the positive side of events.
There's a tiny country at the bottom of the South Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
Good public healthcare system, pretty good.
That's all right. Yeah.
It's okay.
If you guys didn't have such stringent immigration standards.
Oh, yeah, we just gotta find someone.
I mean, as a country that is famously incredibly welcoming to immigrants, especially in the present day, I can't believe that you would have such a restrictive policy.
Well, so we're all like smiles up front, but when you look at our policies, it's all a facade.
Yeah, it's, hey, we live in paradise and we want to keep it, so you stay the fuck out of here.
So get it. Nah, they'll let white people in. They're good. With this government. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that bullshit. Well, it sounds like a mixed bag, my friend.
Mixed bag.
Hopefully,
but, hey, I like you guys. I like chat. I think I like everybody in chat, so good on
most
you.
people.
I'm here to hang out with the people that I care about.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole work-life balance thing is definitely one of those like, oh yeah, no, that's important. And if you can get to do stuff that is not work, do the things that aren't work, because work does not care about you, and therefore, like, you should only care about work in as much to the level of staying employed and continuing to be able to make money to do things, because money is important. I mean, you do have to have it in order to live. Living is kind of nice.
Yeah.
But like literally yesterday was my 16-year anniversary with Evil Corp USA, and that for me was kind of a moment of, really, 16 years of my life doing this. Okay.
I'm having flashbacks to various
cool.
scenes in the Shawshank Redemption when you're talking about like having your 16th anniversary at Verizon. That's a nice touchstone for me to immediately leap to. Don't need
Yeah.
to unpack that association at all.
Yeah, great.
He's an
You're going to
institutionalized man now.
you going to a prison movie
Fuck, I love that movie.
for that. Yeah.
I watched that again
Yeah.
the other week, like maybe 3 weeks ago. It's so good.
I need to watch it again. It's been a while,
Oh,
but
I love it. It's one of my favorites.
yeah, like yeah. Work in general. I'm just gonna reiterate because work in general does not care about you. You know, do not give work 100% of yourself because it will not be rewarded. Your reward for giving work 100% of yourself will be more work and more burnout and less time to have an actual life.
My boss is a dick.
Well, yeah, we know he's a terrible producer too. I'm about to get muted or dropped off this stream very quickly. But yeah, that's like really I've pretty much worked out that work will get maybe 40 to 50% of my effort. They seem to be happy with that. They seem to be happy to continue to pay me at that level of effort. They were not giving me any more money when I was giving them more effort.
Dan's famously a selfish lover. No.
I mean, I'm sorry, Steve-O. It was one time. It was one time. I'm sorry.
I'm caught yawning. It was awful.
Christopher Grusha, the man who crawled through a river of shit and came out clean on the other side.
The colossal prick even managed to sound magnanimous. Oh, I love that movie. All right. Shall we?
Who's the bogs at your workplace? Up next on the resupply.
Two things never happened after that.
I'm getting silly now.
Yeah. Well, hopefully everyone's something. So speaking of, I'm sick. Leave me be.
I would say most people are something.
Yeah,
definitely something or other.
Speaking of doing the work, actually, we'll segue a little bit. Hey, did you guys hear? We got a new logo for this year's Laserforce Space Marines Internationals 2025. Did you guys hear?
Oh,
yeah.
I heard tell. A little bird might have told me that.
Right.
I think it was a cockapoo.
Here. Boom! Look at that. Fuck, Marco was awesome.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
It just took it a minute to pop up.
Well, I was in the wrong window. Give me a break.
Well, also you have to be patient with Steve. It takes a little longer sometimes. Now that he's getting older.
Recall you saying all of those things verbatim to me that one night. No. This is the logo. It looks cool. Big shout out to Marco from I think his company's name is like Mac Inc. Mac Inc. Yeah.
I mean, it's very impressive for someone who's never actually, like, as far as I know, been to the Laserforce building. Like that really does look like it.
Well, there are these things called pictures of the building.
I'm aware, but still.
And Marco is, a highly talented artist. So, him being able to translate a picture into a logo, very within his skill set. So I'm just going to throw that out there that maybe we shouldn't be surprised that it looks so good.
Yeah, he does such a good job. He's done
That's fair. Fair point.
Nats logos now every year since I want to say 2015. I think the earliest one was, which was Syracuse or maybe Loveland. Loveland, yeah.
That was Loveland's intro. It was Loveland's introduction to the scene.
I went back.
It's so good too, because you're probably gonna say the same thing, but like going back through them, like what were you struck by?
Yeah, well, no, I was gonna say I was going back through the photos in the Laserforce tournaments page, and from that I found photos from that tournament, and man, there's some young looking Lovelanders playing that tournament. There's a photo of Luke, and I was like, is that Luke? Jesus, the tiny giant baby.
It was a giant baby.
It was.
There were some young-looking Lovelanders at that tournament. The reason they were all kids.
Yeah.
At that tournament,
like here, full thick here to here.
They just were. They were all just kids.
Really
Steve. Let's make fun of all the people who used to have more hair.
Yeah. Eat it, bitches. Actually, I found a lot of grey hairs in mine this morning. I think it's turning pretty quickly. Well, I went to my friend's 40th in the weekend, and it was at a bar and split down the middle. On one side was us at the 40th, and at the other side was the 21st.
Oh God.
The duality of man.
Yeah, I was like, man, we look tired. I made the comment. I was like, no, we look like we want to be here, but not that late. It's really nice to see everyone, but can I go home now? It's 9:30.
It would be really great to be in bed by 10.
yeah, we could get out, before the town people get here. It was
if I have a beer after 8:30, it's just gonna be Gas City all night. So really gotta settle that thing down.
I'm gonna get a start in the day tomorrow. It's Sunday. Yeah. Got morns to low. You know how it is.
I'm just kind of waiting to see how all the posts and that socials go at Atom Gateway and everything else that we're doing for the week. Given that most of us are now old.
I've been thinking about. Speaking of being young, I've been thinking about setting up a TikTok. So I might do I might TikTok the week. If that's a thing. Is TikTok a verb? Can you TikTok something?
Why the hell not?
Yeah, I'm gonna TikTok it up. That's what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be sick. Everyone was in bed by 7:30 when we were in New Zealand. Yeah, of course. It was a hard day of laser tag. Hashtag dislike. Yeah. Cool new logo, and with cool new logo comes cool new merch to buy. So I have a design. I'm going to wait a beat before I announce. I was going to put it up this weekend, but I think I'll wait until next week. But I am putting a design together for a tournament shirt. Last year's one is currently being modeled by my friend Chris. You could see.
Why? Why?
Sorry, my friend Than.
Thank you. Jesus fuck, Steve-O. Oh my God.
It's so grating when it happens too.
It's like, okay, again, the only people who call me Chris at all ever are my mother, which, okay, yep, 100%, and people at work.
yeah, your coworkers.
And occasionally people I play soccer with.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Not AKA the list of people that he comes on the podcast to get away from, Steve. So quit being such an inconsiderate jerk.
Fucking asshole. You gotta do it in the middle of a game. Please do. That'd be so funny. First name should be banned. Depends.
Michael.
Like Guy Next Door is a hard one. It's a mouthful. Guy Next Door is a mouthful. So
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've seen the video.
Yeah, Steve, you were there. You made the video.
I did.
Yeah. So
I've seen it.
What is that? Oh, sorry. Something popped up on my screen.
More distraction.
but where I was going with that is the design will be finished next week. I'm taking pre-orders. It'll be 45 Australian dollars if you want to buy the Nats shirt. There'll also be a disc golf shirt, which will be the same price. I'm here to take all of the monies. It sucks though,
like usual.
There's, like I said, there's no profit in this stuff for me, so I really should charge more. But fuck it, who cares?
And then on top of that, I've gotten the link for the new Discord from Tu, and had basically been going through just site to see if there's, so basically just checking it out. And there was a couple little things that needed fixing. So I've sent those notes back already. So hopefully we can actually fully launch that this week, so we can. I mean, the Facebook groups are dead anyway, but actually migrate all the things the fuck away from Facebook.
Like a month or so out either side, I get, or and lead up to. But yeah, right, they've been pretty quiet.
Yeah, but that's it.
Yeah.
Like we were saying before the show, it would be one thing if it was just my problem. Like, well, I don't like using Facebook. but everybody else is still on it, so I'll just deal with that.
Yeah.
But you go on the tournament page, like nobody's there, and
Well, it's
even most people
events.
in like the tournament scene, like I just don't even see their personal updates on Facebook that much. Like there's a picture every now and again,
Yeah.
but that's
It's
shit's for
mostly there
boomers.
for events, like calendar events and shit. Like that's,
Mhm.
I mean, that's what I use it for now. Is just events. Yeah. Troy, just quickly. So Troy locked us down a bunch of sponsors for the disc golf part of the week.
Because Troy's awesome.
Because Troy is awesome. One of
Dope.
those, Slam Man, kind of, yeah, kind of.
I mean, Discord's way more like the LF boards
oh
than
yeah.
anything else.
Troy is so Troy locked down a sponsor. You'll have to remind me of the name because my brain's fucked. But they are a non-alcoholic beverage company, and they are like Naked Life. That's one. They do. I think they do alcoholic beverages as well, but they are donating or supplying like 120 cans of beverages or something like that. For
Nice.
this
I thought non-alcoholic beverage was an oxymoron in Australia.
Yeah, but this one's got a little bit of booze, right? No, it's non-alcoholic. Yeah, or what is it?
Beer it is.
What is it? Beer then. Yeah, so it's pretty sweet. So there'll be but there's lots of t-shirts available. Also, I'm happy to potentially supply people's team shirts if you want to make some team shirts up. I've just finished my team's one. Looks pretty fucking sweet. I think Troy's team are getting some shirts done as well. They're gonna look pretty fucking sweet. So if your team wants some shirts done, hit me up. I can supply them. I can do some design work and shit. Unless you, do whatever.
As soon as we think of a team, we'll think of a shirt.
yeah. As soon as you have a confirmed team.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing we're still working on at the moment.
Yeah. But
Like,
give me the money. Give me your money. I want it. Give me it. Give it to me. No, I'm
You
happy to
can
help.
only make us singlets because we only have 2/3 of a team at the moment.
You don't deserve sleeves. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
What's that link? That seems dangerous. Web.archive. Oh, that's
Michael, behave yourself.
Let's move on, shall we?
Yeah, we need to knock this shit off.
Yeah.
knock this government name bullshit off. Like,
Why is our title aesthetically pleasing today? By the way.
That.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay. Because of that.
Because of that.
Because of the
because
okay.
I was gonna bring the shirt up so people could see it. But I think I want to tweak the design a little bit more. You plan on doing wristbands again? So yes, actually, I kind of want to. I think we should. Lots of people really dig them. So, the thing is, we have to do 100 of them, obviously, and there's significantly less than 100 people coming. So it'd be a case of everyone has to buy a couple. But I mean, yeah, we should do wristbands. I don't know if anyone from Brisbane had talked about doing it anyway.
Well, because to my mind, like the only drawback of the wristbands and why I felt like I wasn't using them as much is because they get sweaty. You want to take them off sometimes, but unless you can print your name on it or something, like I'm like, oh crap, is that my wristband? I don't know whose that is at that point, but I know that if you have to make a run of 100, you can't be printing people's names on them. So that's a tough thing.
It's a shame.
It is really convenient as long as you're willing to leave it on all day.
Well, so yeah, and that's like I don't know. I never had the issue of wearing mine. Like I wear mine at members nights and shit. And granted, that's only 3 hours versus 8, but still, yeah. But yes, that is the plan to do some more wristbands. There will be hats available. There's one prototype which I'll hopefully have by this time next week, so you can see what it looks like. Yeah, there's lots and lots of ways to give me them ducats. You'll take a couple mucks as well. Yeah, and like I still have people asking me now, and like unfortunately I don't have any more wristbands available. But maybe we do another resupply design. Maybe we do 50-50. Or whatever it works out to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be doable. Sweet. I think that was all. Oh, the other aesthetic thing. Actually, I might. There's a thing. There's a thing I've got going on. There's a thing I've got going on here. Which I think I've mentioned before, but it's something that's coming to fruition. So I'll wait on it. But that's also going to be aesthetically pleasing.
Fruition, huh?
Yeah. Did you like it? Did I use it right?
Potentially, yes.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
It's like the flavor of.
Since we don't know what the fuck you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, just being cryptic. I hear being cryptic.
Yeah. But hey, no, that's fine. You're planting the hooks for later on.
That's
You
right.
have to tune into a future show.
That's right.
To hear whatever it is that Steve's probably going to forget 5 minutes after the show anyway.
Yeah, I already forgot what we were talking about. Shall we talk about some actual laser tag rather than, laser
Theoretical
tag?
laser tag?
Jason. I played laser tag this week. It was fun. We got some tag in. We only played 4 games of Space Marines, but they were fun. Really fun.
Yeah. See, somebody got himself a nice little 12K at Scout.
Yeah. But asterisks. Any good thing I do asterisks. It is Slammin'.
Steve, weren't we just talking the other week saying you got to give yourself more credit? You got to celebrate your wins more.
True.
You know what? You did it.
I think it's time to remove the asterisks from Internationals 2008. I think there's no more asterisks.
There never should have been one.
You just gotta,
I never put a fucking asterisk on.
I've always put one because Brisbane weren't there, but you can only play against the people who are there. So
correct.
Right.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
got worse than last in that tournament.
Yeah.
They made the choice. They made the choice to not show up except for Pat. So yeah, you can only play who's in front of you. We played who was in front of us. We beat Oakley.
And Meow, right?
Which was great.
Yeah.
For us,
and
not
Meow
for
was
them.
there too. And there was one other person, I think.
No.
Pat Meow.
Meow. Meow was
Pat,
there.
and Meow,
I said
I think
Pat
maybe
Meow.
one more, but
no, it was just Pat and a Meow.
Well, we can ask Pat at Nationals this year.
Yeah, I heard he's back.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to catching up with Pat. Both returning this year.
Yeah.
See,
I've never actually met him in person. I know who he is, but
yeah, I like Pat. Or liked Pat. He could have turned into a real asshole.
Jeez, come on, Pat.
Come on, Pat.
Why you gotta go breaking Steve's heart like that?
But yes. Anyway, we actually had a topic. We had a topic we were going to talk about. What's the topic?
Mm-hmm. Well, borrowing from the rewatchables, and it sounds like we're going to have a rewatchable for Shawshank Redemption pretty damn soon here because I couldn't get off of that topic. But right, there's a category when we do rewatchables called Apex Mountain. So when was a person involved in the project? When were they at the peak of their powers, so to speak? When did they have the highest rating, reach their ceiling in any given enterprise? And I was like, we should do that for our laser tag careers. Like, what was your Apex Mountain? And as I was sitting down to think about it, I'm like, well, it depends on how you're defining it. So like, when were you at the peak of your powers? When do you feel that you were the best player? And it could be right now, if you want to say that, or like, I think I'm still getting better. And when do you think you had like your greatest achievement or accomplishment as a player, even if it wasn't necessarily when you were at your absolute best? But for some people, that might be the same thing. Like I can think of a couple players where I'm just like, I think that's kind of like the same moment for them, but I don't think it is for myself. So that's how I was thinking about the topic. But you guys can add whatever you want to that. If there might be more than 2 apexes, apices. What's the plural of apex? Look that up.
Apox, I think is the correct term is apox.
No, it's something else entirely.
Well, anyway, get your apex on.
Thad, you want to kick us off?
Sure. So from a when I think I was the best player, like that comes in a couple of different forms for me. I think, like, I was the best attacking version of myself, definitely in the early 2000s. Like, no question that from an attacking perspective, like, I want to say, 2002 to 2004, kind of in that range. was when I feel like you could put me at a position that actually had to score points, and I could do and I could do it. There were still people much better at it than me. So let's be very, very clear about that. I've never really considered, well, I've never seriously ever really considered myself a top tier attacking player, because I never have been. I've been good, but I've never been like, oh yeah, we're definitely going to take Than to be, this important attacking role.
I mean, in like 1999 or 2000, maybe, but that was also, we didn't know anything about what was out there.
Yeah, we didn't know what we didn't know at the time. Like within Sacramento in 99 2000, sure, you can make an argument that I was, one of the top attacking players, but I'm definitely basing this on, wider scene type stuff.
Man, you're really conjuring up the nostalgia for me too, of like trying to think like back in around 1999 2000 when we'd been playing for all of 3 or 4 years, and me thinking about like, okay, it kind of seems like we had this sort of pecking order from the site, and like a player would have kind of the belt, for lack of a better term, for a little while, but then it's like, now someone would kind of get ahead of them, and it would like kind of go back and forth. Like you'd have it for a little bit, and then like Lejeune would go on a really good hot streak, and then like Yama would do some really good stuff. People like Kordash and Kraz were in there. Yeah. Like way back in the day, like you had these other players. So yeah, you were definitely in the mix for a while.
Yeah. But in terms of like, when I feel like I've been my best like resupply self, like I still feel like I am. And I definitely didn't for a fair amount of time, but like last year's Nats just kind of like re-cemented to me around like, oh yeah, right. No, I do actually know what I'm doing. Still within a resupply, I can still run a resupply. I can still make sure that my team is doing effective and efficient things. I can still, control a game from that position. So while I definitely notice that I'm a little slower with the reflex side of the game at this point, from an actual like intelligence in the game standpoint, I still feel like I'm pretty much like where I've been for quite some time on that aspect.
We'll say since like 2008, I guess. Maybe 06. That's when you really kind of embrace like the ammo role.
Yeah, like
I haven't seen you play anything but Resup at a tournament since
quite some time.
Since you've moved back to the US.
Yeah, and 06 and 08, I definitely was only playing Resupply, and was it 05 was a dumpster fire.
Was it that year? Because then you had to play 3-hit for.
I played heavy in 05. Yeah, that was a dumpster fire of a year. Now, I did have a sequence of 3 games in 4 where I had 100% accuracy with like a minimum of like 40 shots fired each game.
Okay, glad you put that on there, because I'm just like, yeah, that's easy in Brisbane. You just let Rusty kill you in 2 minutes. It happens really easily.
Yeah,
I only got up 5 shots, but I hit them all.
No, it was like minimum of like 40 shots in each game, and there was one game where I actually cracked like $8,000 with 100% accuracy. So, so
pretty good. So I was still on like what? Was still like Gen 5 equipment?
Yeah, Gen 5, Gen 6. Certainly.
I can't remember when Gen 6 came out, because I know we got it back when Laserforce reopened in 08, and I feel like it was relatively new at the time.
Yeah, so it may have been Gen 5 equipment in 05.
Yeah.
That
but anyway,
right.
I'm saying it was harder to get 100% accuracy on Gen 5. I'll just say that.
But yeah, so from a resupply standpoint, I still feel like I'm. Well, I still feel like I'm close to the peak. The real peak is probably. It's actually probably like 12 to 16. because there's a very specific reason in '08 why I wouldn't have been at the peak of my game. I was playing without an ACL in my left knee, so I had like no mobility.
Yeah, that's fair.
So so I had less mobility than I had last year, which should say something.
It was probably like real beneficial that we played in Ballarat, because that maze was like pretty easy physically.
Yeah, no, the playing in Ballarat in '08 with my knee in the condition that it was certainly helped, because it was such a base defense maze, and it minimized the amount that I was having to move, and I didn't have to go up the ramp into the middle of the arena if I didn't want to. Like, I could stay on one level and not have to worry about too much, but that's a whole other thing. So yeah, let's say peaks of like 06 and then like 12 to 16 and kind of re-peaking now a little bit.
Would you accept like 2013 as an answer, just if we're looking at like tournaments as focal points, since we got second in Detroit that year at that Nats?
Yeah, I can reasonably go with 13 as a peak of Resupply, again, while still feeling like I'm still pretty close to that now, as well. And then from a Apex Mountain, as in terms of teams, I mean, really, it's like it's 04, it's 08, and actually that 13 as well, because like no one was beating Detroit A in their own maze, and sending,
that was kind of our redemption for like fucking up in
12,
in 11,
and 12, and not quite getting things over the line in that one correctly either. So yeah.
I would say for me, probably like Apex is like 08, probably. And maybe for both. I think maybe I was playing at my best then, and that's probably the best like achievement that I've had in my playing career. I found I played really well in 2018 in Brisbane.
I'd agree with that.
And in some cases, maybe it was probably more impressive that year than 08, because like that's another 10 years added to the body. I'd done some damage by having my weight blow out, and so I'd managed to pull that back in preparation for that tournament. So I was probably physically the fittest I've ever been, because I don't think I was necessarily ever that fit in my 20s. I just
but in 08 you were what, like 21?
No, he wasn't that young. He wasn't that young in 08.
In 08? When was I born?
Yeah, you were born 86, right?
Yeah.
So you're 21, 22?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I was going to say. Yeah, at that age, you don't necessarily need to be really fit. Like, you didn't really have to train for tournaments. That's right. Age. You kind of just showed up and was like, okay, whatever. I can abuse my body for a week, no problem.
And we did. Oh yeah, I know too. And we did train. To be fair, we trained a lot in the lead up to that tournament.
06 and 08, we did a lot of training.
Yeah, but I trained harder and more regularly in 2018 than I had in 2008. So yeah, I was probably at my physical peak that tournament, and you kind of had to be, because Brisbane is a grueling maze. It's probably one of the gruelingest mazes. Maybe, I don't know. What do you guys think? Is Brisbane or Loveland more physically demanding?
Ooh, that's
it's kind of like an unfair question because of like the altitude.
Yeah, but it's like Brisbane.
Loveland is way harder because of that specifically.
If you take that out, like, I still think Loveland is harder.
It's still got a lot of ramps, so it is definitely taxing, but the distances are collapsed so much relative to Brisbane. Like, just getting across the field in Brisbane, like it's a
lot. Yeah, like I would say, if the fields were at the same altitude, then Brisbane is definitely the more difficult maze.
Yeah.
Loveland gets a bounce on difficulty because of the altitude and because you've got, you know, an extensive amount of ramp work that you have to do in order to be effective in that maze. So you're doing an extensive amount of ramp work, an extensive amount of sprint work, all at 5,000 feet worth of elevation, which if you're not used to it, suddenly you end up having to buy cans of air from Walmart to recharge yourself between games.
It's interesting because I think at that tournament I was probably my like unfittest I've ever been. And so like maybe in my head that's why I hate it. Like I don't like that arena because it's not necessarily, I mean it is because it's a physically demanding place to play, but I also attempted
and I was not in the place to be physically demanding.
Yeah, well, I've been at my physically worst I've ever been. But yeah, I would say maybe from a performance perspective, like a personal performance perspective, it'd be a toss up between 18 and 08. And maybe I'd give 18 the edge just because we, you know, I don't know, maybe I would say in 2018 the skill level across the board was a whole lot higher from all the teams than it
no
was
question.
in 08.
100%.
No question.
Yeah, 100%.
No question.
And so you have to be at your best in
all the time.
And you know, I would say we played at our best and we probably placed about where we deserved to. It could have been a coin flip whether we ended up 4th or 3rd in that arena. Because the game,
you definitely could have. You could have taken 3rd.
Yeah,
sure.
we almost did. There was like a moment in the first game I think that could have switched on a dime. But yeah, it's a tough one. But yeah, I would say that's probably the case for me.
I don't have the frame of reference because I didn't see you play in 08, but I've seen you play many times since then. There's no question in my mind 2018 was the best I'd ever seen you play.
Yeah, it was kind of, I had like flashbacks to my my 20-year-old self. Like, oh, that's right. That's what it feels like to be able to sprint up a ramp and not be dead immediately. Like not actually, like not be puffed. Like, oh, I feel bouncy. Let's go. Have you played back-to-back 3 hits on a 30-degree, 70% humidity night in Brisbane? That's a really good point, actually. Brisbane summer heat. Which is worse, Brisbane summer heat or Loveland altitude? Because it doesn't get like hot there, right? It gets warm, but like
it gets hot.
It can get pretty hot.
It can get hot, but it
hot.
doesn't get but you don't get the humidity in Loveland to the same extent. You still can.
It depends on the day.
But it's not. It's definitely not Brisbane humid, but it does get humid.
That's not even a thing, too. Like, yeah, it's cold, but it's like for us, we were like, this is like nice. This is temperate.
Yeah. Ballarat was comfy.
Yeah.
There were ice. Well, again, Ballarat was comfy. I didn't have an issue.
It was cold, but it's not like Colorado or Syracuse cold.
It was like last year, 2 years ago now, Auckland, and like there were some chilly mornings, but on the whole, it was pretty nice.
Our weather here is real, like temperate. It sits in a good zone. We're in the Gold Coast.
Yeah, it does.
You know what?
100%.
Just fucking move here.
Hey, you know what?
Nice. I'm trying, but someone won't marry me. So.
You know what? As soon as Verizon lays me off and gives me a big payout, I'll move back. That's literally how I would be able to afford to move back. Is they give me a big payout to go away.
Do you reckon
we all moved to Steve-O's commune?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Do you reckon my cult leader status is at the point where I can convince our entire community to move to New Zealand and we'll just live in like one in our community? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, if it were feasible, I would definitely do it.
Drink that Kool-Aid, DK.
This is turning into the discussion that all guys have when they're like 23 and think it'd be great to own a bar.
Dude, we should own a Laserforce. We should totally own a Laserforce. Yeah.
It'd be really cool,
It'd be so
man.
cool. We could do whatever we wanted. You know how many like games of Space Marines would play during the week? We'd make everyone play Space Marines. It'd be so cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Our new owners are pretty cool. They're pretty fucking sweet. What are your thoughts on this, DK? Not moving.
So-
I mean, like what we're talking about.
No, so kind of like you, there's a part of me that wants to say like, oh yeah, back in 2004, I felt like I was the best I ever was. But the fact is that hadn't played against some of the best competition. Like I'd played against Rusty and Night Owl and them prior to that, and I approached my training for 2004 with them in mind of like trying to prove myself against them, and I felt like I'd gotten a lot better. But the reality is just as time has gone on, the skill level has gone up so much. Like, no shade to the old days, you can only play who is in front of you, but it's like when people have these discussions about like basketball or football players now versus back in the 1980s. I mean, like, well, it's a completely different world. I mean, just stuff like the training regimen is completely different. Yes, guys who are drinking a 6-pack and smoking a pack of cigarettes at halftime probably aren't going to do as well as people who have like industrial engineered meals who have like a fucking cryo lab they go into after every game. Like, it's just a different kind of level of preparation and all that.
Yeah.
So like Brisbane was still obviously the measuring stick and had come up short against them a number of times. But I think like 2017, if I look at that I felt that we were ready to beat Brisbane. And I was going to make it this whole thing about like, finally a U.S. team is going to kind of get over the top. I mean, a U.S. team get over the top legitimately, because we're not going to count 2015.
No, we're not.
Right, but
Not even a little bit.
Well, and I mean the other thing is too, like, I didn't even consider that to be a real Brisbane team either, because it's like, yeah, it had Rusty and Traj, but Glader was still pretty new. Like, they had Fredo, but he was kind of on the back line. They took Mercs, so like, that wasn't like a Brisbane team in the same way. But I was like, yeah, they're bringing a full six. It's a really great six. Like, that is honestly one of the best tournament teams that I've seen, because that was Rusty, Taipan, Baden, Fredo, Traj, and Glader. So like, that was a murderer's row. So I was like, yeah, if we can beat that team, we'll have really proved something.
You almost did.
Almost did, but we came up short, and I do think that it had to do a little bit with our preparation, and some of it I do blame myself for. And this is probably going to sound really egotistical, but we just had this discussion last week about, you know, the mentality you need as a commander. I think I didn't like impose my will enough in the run up to the tournament. Like, I should have said, sorry guys, I'm the best player. Here's what we're going to do. This is the plan we're going to follow. And people are going to follow this game plan. But I was approaching it with the standpoint of like trying to defer what I felt other people's strengths were. And I was like, I could play a couple different roles on this team, but I know this particular player thinks that this is their best position. This player thinks this is their best position. So it would be better if I play scout and try to kind of fill in the gaps in our offense. That hadn't gotten it done against Brisbane in round play. So I did end up switching to commander going into finals, but I didn't make the other crucial switch that I wanted to make with that move, which would have been swapping Venom to heavy. And that was kind of in the back of my mind of like, that's the lineup that we needed to run, and we never did. And that like hurts me to still think about. Like, I felt very much like I was at the peak of my powers for a lot of the same reasons you were saying, that okay, I could run around a lot in 2004 when I was like 20, but when you had to approach your training intentionally, like I was still in my early 30s, so I was in pretty good shape. I had trained really hard. Then we were just talking about like running 5Ks and all that. Like, I was actually doing that in 2017, much to my chagrin, but like had gotten good at that. I'd gotten down to a very fast time. I had really gotten up in my squat and my deadlift. So like, I felt super ready, and I approached that event with a ton of intensity. It was such a huge letdown not to make it, but I was like, I was second in MVP. I was second in overall medic hits. I was first in hit differential. So I definitely felt like that was when I was my best as a player.
Yeah.
But right, the sting of losing that didn't go away until like this team, right? And
Yeah.
like that's easy answer. Like, what do I consider my best accomplishment as a player? It's being a part of USA West in Auckland in 2023. There's no question, because that was another incredibly strong Brisbane team, and that was a tournament where, in contrast to 2017, where I feel I should have made the effort to talk to my team about this, about the mentality that we need to go into the tournament with. But in 2023, we really did have that. We sat down, we decided as a team that we're going to approach this tournament with the mindset of we're not going to be runners up, we're going to be champions. And setting that kind of goal and then having it pay off is just intensely rewarding. And I think that is the best American team that has been assembled from like multiple sites, has gone overseas and competed.
Yeah.
People may disagree. People may think the 2018 team in Brisbane was better. That's fine. But at least for my money, I think it was the best American team that's been put together. And I felt it was a real honor to be included with that, because I definitely was not at the peak of my power. Several of those players I felt had definitely leapt over me in skill level, but kind of as Than was saying, the mental side is still there and the organizational side is still there, and being able to help on the back line and using the benefit of all that experience, I think that really paid off, and that was rewarding to maybe just kind of be the kind of mature older presence that sometimes younger players, and not like super young players, but guys in their 20s need. You still need that kind of like steady adult presence in your life sometimes, because I did when I was younger as well. So you just sometimes kind of need that guidance. But I would definitely look at that as like accomplishment as a player. Like that's always going to be number one in my mind, I think.
Great. So I'm now the steady adult presence on any team that I play for. That's awesome.
You're playing pretty fast and loose with the word steady.
Fuck off.
I mean, not in 2004. You were still young enough then. Fuku had to be the responsible adult. Boy, what a scary thought that was.
I'd say that you probably are. It worries me when like I'm becoming that guy.
You were definitely that guy for your team in 23 in Auckland. I mean, I know Sneak obviously is not younger than you, but you know, you might be similar in age to a lot of those guys, but like you definitely had to be kind of like the steady veteran presence. I feel like I just saw that within your team dynamic.
Yeah. I think it might be similar this year as well. We'll see how we go. I had a thought for a future topic, and I think this might be a bit of fun. I'd like to do an episode where we do a comparable show. So, you know, what is better? Blah 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 blah. What is worse? This or this? And what I'd like to do is I'd like to have comparables coming from chat. Like if you want to send like voice recording through of asking your comparable, that would be awesome. Otherwise, just send me messages or send it in the Discord. And
what's harder, Colorado altitude or Brisbane humidity? Go.
Yeah, that kind of shit. That I would very much like to do a show like that. I think that'd be a bunch of fun. And getting the outside perspective, because you know it's nice to involve the community. So I'd like to do a show like that at some point. If you wanna submit some questions, check them in the Discord or fire them to me in the Discord, and we'll go through and compile a bunch. What's better? Being sick during the tournament or during the awards dinner?
Awards dinner, it's not even close.
I mean, if I have to like, I definitely don't want to miss the tournament, but I think I planned my strategy of Auckland sickness the best, where I had it the worst day was the day after the awards dinner, and then I was fine by the time we went to Hobbiton. It was mostly fine.
Yeah, it's mostly fine. Me on the other hand,
sucking down like 15 cough drops every hour.
Oh yeah, man, it's brutal. Who's better, Pavlova, New Zealand or Australia? Who cares? Pavlova sucks. That's the correct answer.
Danger zone.
Yeah. I would say, you know, like I don't think we've gotten to play together in that many national internationals, DK. But I would say like you know that's a really substantial achievement to fly to a different hemisphere, play against players who have played tournaments in an arena, even if it's not their home arena, and come in and um, you know be strong the entire week. Like from Jump Street, like you guys were real good. Um, to the point where I've recently started kind of thinking about um, the meta in our arena and like how you guys played it and trying to figure out like how you guys did it. And because I didn't watch a lot of your games, which is disappointing. I had to do all the other like
Yeah.
hosty shit, which I enjoyed, but it did mean that I missed out on seeing a lot of cool shit in the arena. So
Yeah,
it
happens.
yeah, the stream gets in the way and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, cool. Was there anything else to kind of add? Was there other questions on this topic?
Well, I like. Are there other apexes that we should cover beyond just those two? And I guess like alternative question would be like, what is your perception of the other two? When do you think they were at the peak of their powers?
Ooh. I mean, I
Because
agree.
like I kind of already said for you, like I would say 2018 is the best I've ever seen you play.
Yeah, I would agree about 2023 for you, DK. Just because like watching you in that leadership role, you could see that you guys had spent a lot of time actually setting that dynamic up prior to the tournament, and which is even more impressive when you can't do that in person. You got to do it like, on Discord. That's a whole new level of preparation.
Yeah, but just having the actual understanding that everybody is on the same page in terms of what their goals are is a lot better. Because like I was saying about 17, like part of the problem was I don't know that everybody else had the same mentality that I did. I made the assumption they did, but it's also not fair necessarily to hold everybody to that standard. I'm a crazy person, right? Most people don't think about like setting their training schedule for the year based around when a laser tag event is going to be. Most of them have real lives and are going and doing other shit.
Yeah.
So it's not maybe fair to have that expectation, but you should talk about it. Absolutely. If you do, because it is a special thing when you really do have that kind of shared goal that leads to that kind of sense of camaraderie.
I would say in that vein, so like Than, when you came to Auckland, I would say it's hard for me to differentiate between your performance in 06 versus 08, because I thought that you had a period of like 4 or 5 years where you were consistently great over that period of time. So it's hard to like single out one of those tournaments. And I guess 08 would probably take it because it's like, we won that year and like if you can win at a different site, that kind of pushes you up a little. But like even 06, even though we didn't win, like we played maybe over the period of a week some of the strongest Laserforce that any Auckland teams ever played over that week period in 06.
Well, I know that and I know we've talked about this before on the show, but it's been a while, so I'm going to bring it back up. Like, I do have very clear memories of going into 06, and like at that point, Auckland had never won a game, I don't think, against an Australian team, like ever. The only wins that Auckland had ever had at a tournament were basically against Wellington, Auckland B, or Wellington at the time that they were playing. And so I have this very clear memory of going in and Sneak basically being like, okay, the goal for my goal for the tournament is I just want to take a game from an Australian team.
Yeah.
And our first match was against Oakley, and we won the first game.
Mm.
And then immediately as we went back into the second game, he's like, well, now I want to win a match against an Australian team. And we won that match.
Mm.
And I remember we got out of that match, and he's like, okay, well, everything from here is basically gravy because we've done what I set out to do. It's like, okay, fine. And
if you give a sneak a cookie.
yeah, pretty much. So from that aspect, like, Auckland as a site basically breaking their duck against Australia after essentially multiple years of basically being the whipping boy of the tournament scene in that part of the world. Like, that's really what Auckland was for multiple years, for multiple reasons, but multiple years. So that was all very, gratifying, like from like a site perspective, and on a personal level, like a lot of vindication for the things that I had done after we got back from Brisbane in 2005. That were not really popular with a specific segment of the playing the playing population, but that's life. Sorry.
We do not speak their names. They are simply called the others.
They basically became Auckland B, and they got rocked, so it was fine. So yeah, from a perspective of like overall impact on a site, I feel like those apexes for me were basically Sacramento in really in like 99 after I got back from Australia the first time. It's like, hey, look, rules. And granted, that took a while to percolate through, but we got there in the end, kind of.
Eventually,
and then Auckland after 2005 Nats, where I did basically just go, okay, no, this didn't work. You guys got your shit pushed in. This is how we're going to do it, and just trust me. And again, fortunately, and again, I've said this on the pod before, but again, it's been years, so we'll say it again. I was very, very, very fortunate that Steve-O and Virus immediately bought into what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Had seriously, like Steve-O, had you and Sam not immediately bought in to what I wanted to do, it wouldn't have happened. Because I didn't have the mana, for lack of a better word, to influence the rest of the site that I would have needed in order to do the thing.
I don't even know if I necessarily did either. Not
no, you did. Like, that was between you and Sam, but mostly you.
Right.
Like, if I don't convince you, nobody else follows. Sam followed like almost instantly with you because he also got it when I was like, okay, this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
So you two being so on board immediately made it so much easier to get everybody else on board, because it then wasn't the arrogant American saying, okay, y'all are fucking dumb and you don't know how to do a goddamn thing, and so I'm gonna fix it.
Yeah.
It was that, but because I had convinced, basically you and Sam that I did know what I was doing, everybody else was more willing to buy into it because they all really respected you guys. So, like that was probably that's actually probably more that's actually probably a higher apex for me than the Sacramento influence, if I'm being honest, because Sacramento just it took so long, because
you're all growing threw it together, right? Like,
in a lot of ways, yeah. Because I was just thinking as Thin was telling that story about like you need sometimes the other players to come along with you. Because like I would usually agree with Than with points that were raised about like changing the kind of dynamic in Sacramento, but there was another block of players that generally didn't agree, and they had kind of enough collective power between them to kind of like block culture changes to the way that we did things until people like Tav and Twig, and later like Fuku and Stalker. Shout out Stalker, I know you're in chat. And Rubber Ducky, people like that who were more kind of willing to go along with some of the things that we had to say, partly because we stuck around when a lot of other people disappeared, but also just kind of like you build that base slowly, and it's like you need a few of like the respectable players, for lack of a better term, to buy into that, because otherwise, who are you? If like ultimately, whether it's fair or not, laser tag and sports generally, right? There is always a kind of deference to skill at some level. Like the most skilled player isn't always like the number one leader, but like what the best players think makes a difference. Like they're going to have some say in how the team is dictated. And if they say, hey, I want to do this, or we're definitely not doing that, like people have to listen to them.
yeah, yeah, right on. You're probably right. Then this is a pretty apex moment to, and because with our scene, like it's not just about the laser tag. Laser tag's obviously a massive part of it, but it's stuff that happens out of the maze is also like pretty important. So, probably.
Important stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting too to hear you talk about that, about like Auckland's experience of being kind of the whipping boy of the scene, and then experiencing some growth, and then becoming a competitor. It was interesting listening to some of the podcasts. To shout out to that other podcast network that's out there over in Loveland, hearing some of the interviews between Mischief and some of the other like A-team players who had been around in the scene kind of since that 2015 tournament, and getting their take on things, because it is interesting. I didn't always think about it from their point of view of they entered in 2015, they got their asses kicked. It's their first match. That's to be expected. But then for them to be like, okay, well, right, we're new. We're the newest site, so we got shit on for now, but other sites will come in and we'll be better than them. But we really didn't get any other sites that joined after Loveland. Like it kind of stayed in that steady group where we had California, we had Utah, we had Detroit, we had Syracuse, and then Loveland kind of came along as a new region of the country, but it really didn't grow much beyond that. So they were always kind of relegated to being the newest site, the newest players. And even though they were getting better, like I didn't see them play really a good away tournament until at least Detroit in 2019. And really, I think in like that Q's tournament in 2021, I was super impressed with like what I saw out of the Loveland people. But on paper, like they still got fourth because there were three really good other teams that happened to be at that tournament. And I know that kind of like frustration builds up where it's like, God, we feel like we've gotten so much better, but so is everyone else. Like we're never going to get over the top. So for them to like finally get over that hurdle last year and get that win, like I can imagine how satisfying that is, because it's very similar to you guys talking about, look, Auckland started at the bottom. Now we're here, right?
Yeah.
So getting that,
because we really were. Otherwise, you're damn right. You're damn right, Frank. You should come down and play, bro. It's been a bit of fun. I hope you guys are doing well. Hope ladies doing well too. Yeah. We were definitely in that same boat in the early 2000s. Going 4 or 5 years, not really achieving anything. Yeah, and then when it happens, it feels pretty fucking good. Especially, and I would say, this matches kind of your arc as well, is when you come so close, you feel, all right, we're the closest we're ever going to get, now's our year, and you fall short, and it's in your home arena, and you're like, fuck. That was our time. Like, it's not going to happen for us now. To then come back and actually get it, like, that it's almost sweeter. because of the shitty taste in your mouth from the the loss.
Yeah, no, I mean,
crawling out under the prison. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that grand final series against Oakley in 08, like in terms of, yeah, I mean, like that particular series of games, I think is probably like if I have to pick like Apex games, like that's it.
It was a great rewatch when we did the rewatch of that series on the show. Like those were great games.
Real good.
Well, and just the and just the way that Game 4 played out in that particular in that particular final, where really like Oakley would have had Sam not nuked exactly when he did and killed out Spoonie, and so suddenly Oakley had no fucking shots to play with.
Yeah.
And like,
because like if they
God.
had eliminated you guys in that game, like it would have been close. Like you guys still had a decent lead going into that game, from what I remember, but it was like
14,000.
You definitely did not want to get eliminated.
Yeah.
I think it was about 14K going into that last game. I would have to go back and look, but I think it was about 14K. So like, and so I knew it. So Al knew it. Like we like. Because I had found out, it was like, okay, you have to tell, and so yeah, so like everybody knew like what the margin was, and just that whole moment of, oh yeah, no, Sam doesn't drop that nuke right at that moment with Spoonie sitting on like 2 lives. Okay, yeah, no, everything's fucked at that point. Like we probably lose that game. Because then Ducky gets more shots, because Ducky only had like 5 or 6 shots when Spoonie died.
It was not very many. And
the video, like the fact that so for those of you in chat that weren't aware of this, like we recorded the score screen with essentially a digital camera, so you can so there's some audio happening as well, and on the rewatch of that game you can hear Ducky basically scream in frustration from inside the maze when he realizes that he's run out of shots and he has no way to get more. And it's one of the combination of greatest moments and most painful moments all wrapped up into one, depending upon which side of that equation you were on.
There's so many gold. There's so much unexpected gold that came out of those recordings. Around the
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
If you haven't seen them, I can't even remember. They're on your channel, right? X10X.
Yeah, I would have to dig out where exactly they are, but yeah, I mean they're up, they're around.
Cross post them to Laserforce tournaments.
That's what I was saying.
If we can.
Like, nah, those are mine.
Actually, I see. No, I thought that we actually had at one point, but
that'll be a question. They are on there? No. What are you trying to say?
Beans is saying that they're not on Laserforce tournament. They're on they are on my channel, and apparently I've never given Beans the files to upload. So yeah, whatever. It's fine. I should maybe do that. It's only been 17 years. Maybe they should show up on the actual tournament page.
Point is, they're out there. Go do a little bit of searching.
Thanks, Christoph.
Shut up, Mikkel.
Yeah, I was gonna say we had this conversation like maybe within the last couple of years, and I was like, hey, why don't you put these up on the Laserforce tournaments? But nah, those are mine. All right, bro.
Sorry, Smeagol. Good luck getting your ring back from those mean hobbits, though.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah, we'll find the link. We'll check them out there. Somewhere we'll make them available, or like easily-ish discoverable.
Yeah, but being a part of like great high stakes finals games, it is a particular kind of like joy and accomplishment that doesn't feel very joyful in the moment because it's incredibly nerve wracking.
Yeah.
But like looking back on it, it's like, man, that was like some of the best games that I've been a part of, because that's definitely how I felt about our finals matches against Brisbane in 23. And like the only part of me that is like regretful is that I was a medic, so my view of the game was more limited. But like I would have loved to see those games through the eyes of Slaughtermelon or Snuffles or Thunder, or people who are like out in the field doing lots of stuff. Like I've rewatched the games on camera, but it's not quite the same. But
No.
yeah, it just some great games, and knowing that margin going into the last game is always very important, and it's a good indication. Like watch that finals, watch the 23 finals, and that's why you don't give up in games, and that's why you always fight down to the last minute, because those points might matter a lot going into the second game of a match.
That's the channel there. It's at X Trust X. Yes.
That's right. I did have to do it as
True 5T.
True 5T X. Yeah, check that channel out, because there's a bunch of videos on there.
It's basically all the 2008 videos I think are on there.
Yeah.
Last uploaded to YouTube 20 years ago.
It's funny because you can see, because there was a CRT monitor, you can see the glare and reflection off the screen of people sitting around watching the game screen. It's really funny. And like, periodically the camera will like semi-focus on somebody doing some random shit in the background, having a stretch or a feed, or just standing there being a dick. It's so good. It's so good. All right. Anything else?
Nah, I think I feel like we've beaten this into the ground.
Now we have to go through every single laser tag player we know and talk about their Apex Mountain. It's a 9-hour show, everybody. Get ready.
I had this.
JK.
Nah. Actually, I'll get your thought on this before we go. I was thinking about doing like a Laserforce Auckland design to have as our like site t-shirts, right? And part of the design was going to have like incorporate all of the players who have ever really like played, regular, like all the members, right? Members nights from the last 25 odd years or whatever. And then I was thinking about it, because there's some real problematic names from our past.
Yes, there are.
So
yeah.
So my question to you is this: if you were gonna do something like that, do you have revisionist history and remove those names, or do you include them because they're a part of the tapestry of your site?
You include them as part of the tapestry of the site, but
it depends how problematic we're talking, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, let me finish the.
You
the,
hide them
the
on the back somewhere.
Yeah, there's a. Yeah, there.
You put them in the armpit.
Say what you will about Hitler, but he did kill Hitler.
I've been guy next door. Yeah, exactly right, Beans. And maybe this is a thought for for another time, but the idea popped in my head just now to kind of ask you guys what your thoughts are on this, because it's an interesting kind of thing to ponder, right? Like, do you, because they did play, and some of them play for a long time, and some of them didn't start off as being assholes, but kind of
became them.
Yeah. Trapped in a glass cage of emotion, that kind of stuff. So I don't know. What do? You would you include them?
Like I said, to me, it depends a lot on what we're talking about in terms of like commemorating them. Like, is it just their name? Is it something that symbolizes them? Is it a picture?
Just their code.
So that's one aspect, and like, is it just that they were kind of a dick, or did they actually like
some of them
cause real harm
dicks?
To did they actually cause like real harm to somebody? Like,
right.
That to me is kind of on a situational basis. That like is someone else going to feel like wounded or traumatized
Yeah,
from seeing
that's
this person's name versus oh yeah, I remember that guy. He was always kind of a dick. Like that's still a pretty big like kind of gap in terms of what we're saying in terms of like just calling someone problematic.
Where
But
does
this is why I get on students
racism-
for inexact language.
where does casual racism fall in that? Is that that's on the no list?
It's pretty.
That's pretty bad.
That is kind of a no-no. Yeah, that's not on, right? What I said, it's not okay.
Sorry, dude. Sorry. But that's kind of, these are the things that I've been pondering, and I was like, that's an interesting question, because like some of these players were a big part of our scene for a long time, and
there's always going to be though cutoffs that you're going to make because you're inevitably going to leave somebody out and making a list that's extensive. Like I could name Sacramento players from way back in the day. They have absolutely no relevance.
That's right.
To anything that's happened in Laserforce in the last literally almost 3 decades. Right?
Yeah.
But it still occupies part of my brain space.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, that was part of my tradition.
Yeah, they played for like a year.
Yeah, but so you can come up with whatever criteria you want. Like if you didn't win a Nats with them, I mean, really, how good could they be?
Just put my name on it. All right. Well, yeah. Okay. So I was kind of in the same vein. It's like, you don't like, you can include them. Probably no one's gonna miss it if you don't. If you do include them, are the people that like, are still here gonna be like, ooh, I don't want that person's name on.
Ooh, brother.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting thing to ponder. These are the things I ponder with my days.
Maybe you need to ponder other things.
This has been the Reponderables.
The Reponder supply. Man, I'm
the ponderous supply?
Resuponder.
Responders?
This has been the responders. Always remember to, I don't know, do something. Yeah, I'm fading. We got to end the show.
Obviously, yeah.
I can feel this thing that I thought was going to be a cold starting to take root in my brain. So I'm fading.
It's turning into man flu. Watch out, everybody.
Watch out! We'll get my man flu on you. Thank you guys for hanging out with us today. I hope you enjoy your time with us. We enjoy doing the show, and we enjoy that some of you like it and stuff. Like I said,
enjoyed these very self-centered discussions where we discuss only the 3 of us.
Correct. It does my ego a lot of good to talk about us. Yes.
Boys, can you just, I don't know, say nice things about me again for a little while? And then I'll say a nice thing about you, and then talk about me again, and then I guess we'll talk about Than, and then we'll talk about me again.
And then DK. Yeah.
Who?
Yep. Words of affirmation are our love language. That's right.
That's right. Hopefully we'll be on next week. If this cold ends up being like what my wife just went through, it's possible we aren't doing a show next week, but we should be. We should do a show next week. I got some cool stuff coming.
That's what she said.
Yeah, she did say that. I couldn't think of any. My brain's too mushy. I can't think of cool things to say. So for this week, I've been Guy Next Door.
I've been Dave.
And I've been Chris.
That's terrible.
Always remember to fucking use your laser tag name. We will see you. We'll see you next week, everyone. Ka kite ana.
Shut